7:35 on a rainy Wednesday. Our guest is by telephone, and she's no stranger to the Mountain Talk studios, whether by phone or in the studio. It's Senator Missy Irvin.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Just glad to be with you guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you. How's things going? How's your summer?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. We've had a great time just with my kids, and I've had a wonderful visitor. When I was in fourth grade, we had an exchange student who came to live with us from Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 18 at the time. And now he's grown up, got married, and has children. And he sent his oldest daughter to live with us for the summer. So my niece from Argentina has been with me this summer, and it's been wonderful.
That is fun. That is fun. Well, Senator, it's good to have you back on, and I know that there's no session going on. There's still a lot of committee meetings and all. And we discussed this 1 or 2 weeks ago by phone. I wanted to get you on to talk about the PARCC, P-A-R-C-C test.
Yeah.
And when we visited, I think you said you were instrumental in that legislation. And then, of course, the Governor, Hutchinson, once the Education Committee had refused to do what the legislators wanted, the governor instructed Commissioner Key to go back and pull the PARCC test. Can you explain what has happened here?
Yeah, I can. First, let me tell you, thank you to all the people that were responsible for all the fireworks. We were able to go and see the fireworks off the bridge there at Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
And we were on the lake. It was beautiful. It was amazing. So there's so many people in city councils and city government, county government that provides those fireworks, and it's just wonderful. Big shout out to all those people that helped celebrate the 4th of July. So I've got to get that in there.
Okay.
That's always a good show.
It is.
Yeah, it was great. And but on the PARCC, Mark Lowry, who's a representative, led the bill on the House side, and I did it on the Senate for him. I was his lead sponsor for the Senate. And that was to end the PARCC test. We had to negotiate basically to limit it to where you would only be able to renew that contract by a year at a time. We would try to stop it as much as we could, but we had to come to a compromise to get some of the votes that we needed to get it out of committee. But we all knew that the PARCC test was not only just a debacle for our schools and our teachers and our administrators, but it was also extremely costly for the state. We had gotten into a situation where we piggybacked onto another state contract. So essentially that basically took any negotiations out of our hands. And that is just bad practice. You don't do that because we then cannot negotiate the price of that PARCC test under a contract. And when you have to require to balance your budget, you can't do that. But the main reason was just because it was an ineffective test. You can ask any student what their point of view was, and I talked to you about getting my son to talk about it.
Yeah, I'd like to have him come up and talk about it sometime. Yeah. And
I kind of surveyed all of the kids that were at the state Quiz Bowl All-Star tournament, and they all said the same thing. It was really a test just to see how much technology and internet, or how you use a mouse and how to click. It was just really ridiculous.
Wow.
And so we did that bill, got that through. Then I had a bill that I worked with Paula Gamble and my teachers down in Mountain View, but mainly her. She was a teacher, and now she's our counselor. And she said, she's right. You should use the ACT. ACT is fire assessment tools because it prepares those kids for the ACT. And that's where we put so much emphasis on for your score. It helps you get the scholarship lottery. It's your main entrance exam in colleges. And it also will prevent you from having to take remediation courses in college. So that score is so important on that ACT. And we in the public school system really need to put the money towards making sure that the kids are prepared to take that test, know how to take it, and to try to do as well as they can on that test, because it will translate into money for them and scholarship opportunities and, down the line. So we wrote that bill, Paula Gamma and I, but there was a huge movement kind of across the state, especially with your teachers, administrators, to try to move in that direction anyway. So we passed that with flying colors in the legislature. I mean, it was very clear people really wanted to go that direction across the board, both parties, both houses. And then the Board of Education, which is appointed board, it's not elected,
right.
It's appointed by the governor. They said, we are going to renew the PARCC contract. Completely ignored the elected officials, which are your House representatives, your senators. We hear from people. I mean, I get text messages, phone calls.
Right.
We're elected. And we knew that people didn't like this. You're not going to get your results from the test back till September, October, November. Well, there's no opportunity to change what you're doing based on the results of the assessment. If you don't get them back in June, July, even August is late. You're missing a whole school year. So it was ridiculous, and the Board of Education, in my opinion, made a poor decision. And I really didn't know who they were talking to or listening to. And then on top of that, Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin led 40 hours of town hall meetings all across the state. And there was unanimous, almost, pretty much, it was resounding from everywhere in those town halls that the PARCC exam was not the way to go. So,
and what didn't the town halls, didn't it have a lot to do with people's input on Common Core as well?
Yes.
What is the real goal for Common Core? Is the goal to get rid of it?
That's a good question. I think it's trying to figure out what's good about it, what's bad about it, and how we, deal with it and proceed. I think that's where they are, and they're just trying to get as much as input, listen to people, and try to figure that out.
Has anybody contacted the state legislators legislators in Tennessee, because they voted it out, and they only had, and it was a bipartisan vote with only in both the House and the Senate in Tennessee, only one vote to keep Common Core of all the independents, Republicans, and Democrats in the state of Tennessee. So only one vote to support
I will tell you. Yeah, sometimes people ding Arkansas for being slow to come to things, but it's sometimes nice to sit back and watch other people make your mistake and learn from it.
So let's clarify something. The PARCC test, throwing it out, did not affect the Common Core standards in Arkansas.
No, it didn't. It was an exam that was very heavy on your. It all had to be done online, and a lot of schools did not have the capabilities of being able to deliver that kind of test. So you had major issues where the test was taking 13 hours to complete.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine? I mean, a third grader sitting there for 13 hours to try to take the test. Wow. I mean, it's stupid.
But if you break it up, say 90 minutes at a time because of attention span.
But then look at how much instruction time you lose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that the teachers were so upset about. They're like, we can't teach what we're supposed to teach because of this test.
No.
And so
I think what it boils down to, Senator, is we have so many tests for the kids, and yes, they have to have a certain skill level by the time they leave kindergarten all the way out the door when they graduate. But if our teachers are educated to the point to teach, why are we telling them how and what to do when they have to kind of direct it to a test to keep their own jobs when they know that a test may not be doing what their particular classroom can go through? You know what I'm trying to say here? In other words, let the teachers teach. If the teachers were given the green card and said, okay, teach your kids. We want third grade level to do this in math, reading, and science. We want fourth grade level, blah, 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 and on up. have we lost that?
No, I think you can do both. I think you can find an assessment like ACT and ACT Aspire to test and assess both of what's being taught, how it's being taught, how well it's being taught, and the knowledge that the kids need to gain. I think you can do both. And I'm looking through the ACT Aspire. It's going to work with whatever you have. If you've got Common Core, if you don't, it's going to work. And they kill two birds with one stone, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing with PARCC and what was being pushed was trying to get all the states on the same page so you could compare state to state, like apples to apples. And, yeah, I guess there's benefits to that. But for me, I think it was just more of a move to try to, I don't know. I think you just had to look at trying to see what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of problems with it, and quite frankly, it made a lot of technology companies a lot of money.
Okay, there's that word again.
Money,
about money.
It is about, all you got to do.
It always comes back to money.
All you got to do is follow the money.
That's right. I mean, that's exactly right. And we can't negotiate it. I mean, that's ridiculous that we as a state couldn't negotiate that.
Right.
And because we chose not to do it that way, which is, again,
Dumb.
a crazy mistake. When you got into this thing and you just allowed another state to negotiate the contract for you, what? You don't do that.
Real quick, we're starting to run out of time. I got about 3 minutes here.
But to end the conversation, Board of Education, Governor Hutchinson had 3 appointees.
Yeah.
They then took their seat. They re-voted, and they voted to go with ACT Aspire.
Yeah. Good.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
On a different subject, real quick, I'm down to about 2 minutes here, and I want your comments. The governor has issued as a executive order to arm National Guardsmen. Yes. I applaud the governor for doing that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's the right decision to make. I was proud of the other governors of different states that have done that as well. It's critical. You know, and I'm a Second Amendment person. I'm a big, I am an NRA person, and always been endorsed by them. But when you have a sign up that says it's a gun-free zone, that is detracting violence.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
And we are fighting terrorism on our soil and on our ground. And for us to sit there and say, you know, these people are not going to be armed and they're just sitting ducks, it's just wrong. It's wrong. There's a difference between right and wrong. Exactly. And there's no political correctness that needs to be a part of that conversation.
No.
Senator, your final thoughts. We're going to have to end the conversation, and we want to invite you to come up to the studio sometime and sit in for the entire hour, and then we'll go get breakfast or something downtown sometime.
Sounds good. I'd love
your final thoughts?
Final thought, I just appreciate all the people that chime in, that text, that call us, that tell us how they feel about different things. Big shout-out to our public schools in my area, my district. They do a phenomenal job educating our children. And I wish it were that way across the state of Arkansas, but unfortunately we have places where it's not like that. But teachers and the administrators are just doing a phenomenal job educating our children. I mean, you can look at the schools in my district that are always in the top 10. Norfolk just does a great job.
Yes, they do.
Salem, Viola, Mountain Home, Mountain View, Searcy, Marshall. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see a public school education be that good.
Yep, I agree.
Really proud of all of them, and pray for the servicemen that lost their lives, and honor them and by just living every day to your fullest.
Definitely.
You bet. Senator Missy Thomas Irvin, thank you for your time today. Appreciate you calling in.
I appreciate you guys. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Time for break. Be right back.